right, everybody, how's it going? It is February 16th. It is 7 degrees outside. That's why we're doing this in my garage. Today what we're going to do is a waterproof fire starter. This is not my recipe. I did not invent this. This is just a cool way to make a fireproof fire starter that you can light up with anything, basically. So I'm gonna show you how to do it. The process is a little bit dangerous, as we're gonna be heating wax and we're gonna be heating Vaseline. So both of those are flammable if you get them too hot. So if you're younger and you're watching this video, don't do this without adult supervision. Normally, if you're heating wax, you want to do it in a double boiler or whatever, but I'm going to do it on very low heat. Also, the pans we're using, these are super cheap. Bought them just for this process. I got them at like Dollar General for $3 or something. So they will be ruined after this, and you'll only use them to do this or things similar to this. So you won't be eating out of these pans anymore. So just so you know that. All right. I'm going to flip the camera around. We're going to go through what you need and all that, and then I'll be right back. All right, cool. All right, so let's talk about what we're going to need for this project. So these are going to be little fire starting pucks. So what we're using is these premium cotton rounds. These are basically to use to take off makeup and stuff like that, okay? They're just little round cotton swab kind of things. So these were like $1 for 80 of them. So I have some rubber gloves just to keep stuff off my hands. I'm using my Mora knife again. You've seen in other videos. Some very cheap $1 tongs, some plastic spoons. Again, this is flammable, so I've got a good halon fire extinguisher here. This is going to be to set our fire starter out on. Gulf wax. This is basically paraffin wax. You can use old candles if you want to. I just have this laying around, so that's what I'm going to melt down. It shaves down easy, it melts good. Normally I would use Vaseline for this, but we're going to use Aquaphor. It's 41% petroleum, and it's got some alcohols and stuff in it too. This one is well past its expiration date, so wouldn't be using it anyway. I'm just going to use it for this project. And there's our pans, real cheapy. These are brand new, got them for a couple of bucks. They are going to be ruined after this. They'll only be used to make fire starters. Or you can make wax fire starter, wood fire starters with them too. And I'm just using a little Coleman stove. We all know what those are. So we're gonna be on very low heat, and we're going to chop this up, and then we'll start the process. So let me get that ready and we'll come back. All right, so we're back. So I'm going to be putting the Aquaphor in this pan. Going to be putting the wax in this pan. We'll be using the Aquaphor first. That we will take our cotton rounds, we'll dip that in there, let that soak up the Aquaphor, then we'll set it off to the side to let it cool and get a little firm, and then we'll be dipping it in the wax and then setting it back. So I got to cut up some wax. I've already cut up a little bit here. You can see, you just want to shave it up real fine so it melts easier. Again, very low heat, because you don't want this thing bursting into flames. So I won't bore you with cutting up the wax, but I will show you. I got my Aquaphor here. So we're not going to make a ton of these today, but you do need to get enough in there. So basically you just, obviously it looks just like Vaseline. And then we're just going to plop it into the pan, and we'll get that heated up and start melting. I'll put more than that in there, but that just gives you an idea. So I'm going to get that going. Not going to make you watch that. We'll get these up to temp and we'll come back. All right, so we're back. So we've got our Aquaphor is melted and in a nice liquid state here. So again, that flame is barely on. I don't even know if you can see that, but you just barely want it on. So now what we're going to do is we're going to dip some of these guys. So what I like to do is just drop them in. I'm going to let them get saturated. You'll see them soak it all up. Then picking them up for a second. Actually, I normally just do one at a time. But you want to let a lot of this drip back off because you don't need a ton. Now they're going to stick to your tongs, so you might have to peel it off. That's why I said these tongs won't be good for anything after you do this. Now, what I do is, I mean, you can see how saturated that thing is with the aquifer. So this is the accelerant, okay? This is what's gonna be under the wax. So we're gonna put that there. I'm gonna make a bunch more of these, not gonna make you watch that, and then I'm gonna go set them outside because it's 7 degrees outside, let them firm up, and then we'll get our wax going and we'll show you that part. All right, so these are my Aquaphor little biscuits here. We're starting to get our wax going. I may need to add a little more to that, but we'll see how it melts down. So I'm gonna go lay these out in the snow and let them cool. Well, not in the snow, but on top of the snow. Let them get firm, and then we'll go to our wax. All right, so our wax is starting to melt here. Now, you can see, I mean, I got it really low. Don't get impatient with this, because if you get this wax too hot, it can go into flame. That's also, you see why I've got such a high pot here. It's just for a safety feature, because I'm not only gonna have that much wax in the bottom, but this is really just for safety, just to have it clearing up the sides. So I like to use a paint stick, doesn't scratch the pan as much, and that way you can just kind of move it around. But don't rush this part, it'll get there. All right, now you can see basically all this wax is, I've got a couple little pieces that are still melting, but then, so I'm gonna go outside and get my pucks that are laying out there in the snow, and we're gonna do a second treatment on them. Now this is the wax, and I used 2 blocks of Gulf wax, if I can get these apart. Well, that's what 2 thicknesses are. So I used 2 of those to get that much in the bottom of the pan. So about almost an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch. All right, I'll go get the little pucks and we'll be right back. So there they are, and see, they are in the snow. We got snow here. Also, just another side note, I'm using aluminum foil that I crinkled up so that it wouldn't stick as much, but really you should use wax paper. And these will come off. Hopefully these will pop off. I just didn't have any wax paper, so just a side note. All right, so our wax is nice and warm. We're gonna see how these come off of here. I'm hoping they're not gonna stick too bad, but they might. Let's see. Like I said, if you had, they may be frozen. No, they're just sticking because the Aquaphor is pretty sticky. But like I said, I would rather use, I'm gonna probably put on gloves here. Should have done that, but. So if that were on wax paper, they would have come off a lot easier. They'll still come off, it'll be fine. They're just, and I probably could have left them maybe a little bit longer out there, but they seem to be pretty cool. So I think they're probably fine. Normally what I'd do is just grip them by the edge, and these tongs are terrible, but they're cheap. That's why I got them. So I'm gonna dip them in quickly and see if I can get them off. Yeah, this is, oh, it's gonna work, that's fine. So I'm gonna do a single dip with each one of them and pull them out, and then I'll show you what I do after that. So we're gonna pull them off. Actually, that one came off really nicely. I think that one was just stuck. You'll see some little bubbles. Whoosh. These tongs are not great. And then try to get them off pretty quickly to let it dry there. So I'm not gonna put you through the torture of watching me put every one of these in, but I'm gonna go through and put them all in one time, and then I'll show you what I do after that. All right, so we have got all of our, scoot that forward a little bit. We have got all of these coated, you can hear. So they're coated in 2 coats of wax. I do 1 coat, let them sit for a little bit, and then as my wax is cooling off, you can put on a glove, and the temperature at which this melts is very low, so it won't hurt anything. Now, I did some with just basically the rounds and just in the wax. Now, I've seen people do it that way too. I think using Vaseline or the other, also these are still hot, so sometimes you can form them a little better while they're while they're cooling off, and it makes them go into whatever pouch you want a little better. So you let them cool for a second, and then you can kind of mold them into the shape you want them. But I made some that are just wax that I double dipped in the wax. I'm getting this back up to temp a little bit. I turned the fire back on just real low because I was going to show you how I do that. Because once this wax starts cooling down, it's to the touch, it's not really going to burn you, especially this pure paraffin wax. It's very, it melts at a very low temperature. All right, sorry, battery just failed. So anyway, it melts at a very low temperature. So as you can see, just in the time it turn it back on, this has already come back to being translucent and pretty much all melted. There's a little on the sides. So what I do, and I'll just show you this quickly, even though all these have been dipped, I will turn the heat off. And I don't have a lot of wax in here. If you had a lot more wax, it'd be a little easier to do. But you just take it, and I kind of turn it up on its side and just rotate it. Now you can't really see that because where my hand is, but I just rotate it in there, get all the edges, and when you pull it out, just shake off the excess, and it's already almost dry. So double coat them. So you got 2 coats of wax, and then you've got your Vaseline, or I'm using Aquaphor, in the middle. We're gonna let these sit, and you can put them in a freezer or just out cold just to let it solidify completely. And then we're almost there, and we're gonna light a few of these and show you what they do. So, all right, we'll be back in a minute. All right, so these have been sitting. I actually put them in my freezer, so they're nice, and you don't want to freeze them. You just want to get them to room temperature. When I say put them in the freezer, don't freeze them. You really just want them to get them to room temperature. Now, you can store them in anything. I usually just put them in a Ziploc bag because that way they lay flat. Very easy to take care of. Now, these are waterproof now because of the wax, so you don't have to worry about them getting wet. And we'll do a little demonstration on that too. But we're going to go, sorry about the camera work, we're going to go outside and light these because I'm not going to light them in my garage. So these are just the cotton. These are the cotton with Vaseline and wax. Just plain wax, wax with, again, I'm using Aquaphor, but Vaseline works just the same. All right, so we'll go outside and we'll do a little test. All right, well, we're going to do this outside because I don't want to be lighting stuff in the garage there, but just want to do a little experiment too. This is just plain water, and as you can see, they float. All right, see the water just beading off of them? Because, well, obviously it's wax. So these are waterproof fire starters. You don't have to worry about. Okay, just take them out, shake them off. If they get wet, no big deal. All right. We'll get rid of our pan, set that over here. So there's the other ones. That's how I like to bag them up. They're nice and thin. You can pack them light and easy. So let me get the mount set up so I can get my ferro rod, and we'll strike these into fire. All right, cool. All right, so this one is the cotton only. This one is the cotton and Vaseline. They were dipped in water. I just shook them off. So let's do just the cotton only first. So what you do is you basically just bend them in half. You want to tear them. So you see all that fiber there? That's what you want, because that's what you're trying to get to catch your spark. So we'll just set that down like that. Get my ferro rod. Hopefully I can do this without hitting the camera. Oop, it started to. There it does not want to start. All right, well, hey, I like real-time failures. Let's see if we can maybe get a little more fiber out. I may still have too much wax on it. There we go. That may have been my problem. There it goes. That's the problem. I didn't have enough fibers sticking out. So it, that was my problem. See, it's lit right there. I don't know if you can see that, but it'll burn just like a candle. See? So, and then what happens is once it, see, it's actually going really good now. That was operator error. I just didn't have enough fibers sticking out. See, so that works, as you can see, quite well. And then you could save a piece and throw this back in and not use it. But so that's just cotton and wax only. Get that away from there so it doesn't catch that on fire. All right, so as you can see, and that's gonna hold a flame for a long time because that wax is the candle. All right, that'll actually, now that I put that out, that will solidify back and you'll be able to relight that. Okay, so let's get that one out of the way. And all right, now this is our one with the Vaseline in it. Okay, you'll find these are much gooier, and you want to get those fibers out like that too. But you can see how much more gooey that is. So you want to get a spark right in that. And that's because it's got that. Oop. It's hard kind of doing this around the camera without hitting it. There it goes. Try not to hit the camera and knock it over. But what you'll notice with this one, see that putrid black smoke coming off of it? And how much bigger a flame that has? That is all that accelerant in there. You can see how much quicker that catches. So that'll get you going for a good fire. That's why I like the ones that have the Vaseline in them. Although these are fine too. They work. Obviously, you saw it. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. And that's how you make little fire pucks very inexpensively out of wax and Vaseline and some little facial cotton pads. All right, have a great day. Hope you learned something. I wanted to bring you guys back just to show you how, so I set this over here on my little picnic table to just let it burn out. And it's windy coming across here, and you can see that, but it's not blowing it out. That is, you know, that's going to be going for a while because that is just complete fuel. That's going to burn for a long time, and it puts out a lot of heat. So that wax and that Vaseline just extends that flame and keeps it going. Like you see, I mean, it's not even halfway burnt in that puck. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching.